The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. On October 22nd and 23rd, the StarCityGames.com Open Series comes to Baltimore, and this event is going to be huge. We're talking hundreds of players, over $14,000 in cash prizes. At least 18 players qualify for the Charlotte Invitational at the end of the year. Live coverage all day, courtesy of SCG Live, and as much Magic the Gathering as we can pack into one weekend. So make plans to join StarCityGames.com in Baltimore, and we'll see you there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Magic Show. I am Evan Irwin, here with Gerry Thompson. And today we're going to talk about states. We're going to talk about all these awesome decks, these rogue decks that you may be building, what you can expect, what you want to be battling against and battling with. And, we're going to see what Gerry Thompson has to think about it. Woo! Let's go. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Here with Gerry Thompson, the one and only. How you doing?
I'm good.
Are you excited for this weekend?
Very excited.
Oh my God, it's states time.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. You just put a title on something, and I want to win it.
I just want to be the state champion.
Yeah, of course.
I battled for the state champion many, many times, and I love going into this weekend. It's all about sort of like where the metagame is at. We've established it a little bit with the Open Series. We're looking at Solar Flare, our number one public enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about this deck?
I don't know. You think it's a new Cobblade?
I don't think so. I really don't. I feel like this format, like where Innistrad is, R&D, I think, sort of recognized that Stoneforge and Jace was this terrible thing, and they have to get past it, and then they have to design Innistrad in a way that doesn't break the game anymore.
Yep.
So Liliana, I think, Liliana and Snapcaster was as far as they pushed it, but with those two being the best cards or whatever, then I still think the format is fine. The format is still all about the Titans, and that is what that is probably for another year.
Unfortunately.
And this one runs Grave Titan.
Yep.
And Wormcoil Engine.
Yep.
I feel if there were no Titans, Wormcoil Engine was what you'd be seeing in a lot of these decks anyway.
Most likely.
Because it's just so good at 6. This is Valenti's list.
Yeah, it was designed by Alex Bertoncini.
Okay.
And
what do you like about it? Why is this a little bit different than all the others, and why is it good?
He's the highest finishing Solar Flare player, which is, a pretty impressive feat considering there's 7 in the top 16, right? Like, he's the one that made it the farthest.
Right.
And he has no Lilianas.
Wow.
Lots of timely reinforcements. Red is obviously an issue. And instead of going hog wild with just mono Sun Titans, he has a Grave Titan and a Wormcoil Engine, both presumably to fight mono red.
That's fair. I mean, and he's got a Celestial Purge main.
Yeah,
for God's sake.
That's impressive. Like, you know who he's trying to fight at that point.
You know who he's afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, was it just because, like, and I know Christian, and Christian's a friend of mine, and he's an awesome player.
Yes.
And do you think it's just because Christian is really good at Magic, or do you think that this build has advantages over the mirror that others don't?
I don't think that this build is necessarily better in the mirror, but he does have Sever the Bloodline in the board, which should give him an edge. I think that, both he's very good, and his deck is more well-rounded. It's better to fight the metagame at large rather than focus on the mirror or mono red or what have you.
Right, and I think that might actually be what a lot of people are doing this weekend, is that they're just being like, I just want to kill Solar Flare. I just want to kill Wolf Run Ramp. I just want to kill Red Deck, and then they may lose to some random thing.
Yeah, I mean, before you could do that, Flare was the big deck to beat, and then Red won, so now there's 2 decks, and now Wolf Run won, which is a mouthful, and now there's 3 decks. So you can't just fight one or the other. It's still all about matchups and pairings, and you have to be able to beat everyone.
Right, and knowing what's important and things of that nature. So we move on to Red Deck wins. Now, for Red Deck wins, do you have sort of a preferred build? Do you like Furnace Scamp, or do you like, the Stormblood Berserker stuff, or?
Definitely Berserker.
Berserker's insane.
Berserker is probably the best card in the deck.
Wow. I mean, as long as he's triggered, 3/3 unblockable, essentially.
Right.
I mean, no one's ever going to walk into, let's double block the Stormbrother.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
Please don't ever do that. If someone's attacking him, just let him hit you, and don't double block so they can blow you out in some sad way. But, he's great. In terms of the Stromkirk Noble, I like that he's just seen a ton of play.
Yep, that guy's good. For the other 1-drops, I don't know. It's just a toss-up for what you want to play. You have Goblin Arsonist, which is fine. Goblin Fireslinger, which always turns on Berserker. Grim Lavamancer, which is fine as a 2 or 3 of, no more fetch lands, so he's not as great as he used to be. Spike Shot Elder is another one.
Yeah.
I mean, all these cards are fine. You don't really want to draw multiples of either, so maybe you play some 2s and some 3s.
Right. I mean, and Brimstone Volley is really powerful. I mean, to cut out a quarter of their life with one spell because your thing died, and if your thing died like an arsonist and it's still pinging something, or whatever, I mean, that's just value. And I think that's great. But Wolf Run, I mean, Brian Sondag, best deck of the tournament, not close in Indianapolis.
Yeah, agreed. Like he deserves to win for sure. Like, not only is his deck great against red and solar flare, but like the numbers look good. He's got like all the technology. His deck just looks like the most well-tuned deck in the entire tournament.
I just loved it. You could hear his interview, and he was just like, "I've been testing for weeks. I've been trying to figure out exactly how to do this, and no one was prepared for it." And he was totally right.
Yeah.
I mean, he just came out of left field and just destroyed everybody.
Yeah, definitely glad to see him win.
Yeah.
Rather than like the 7-3 he had in Indy or whatever. So.
Yeah, and it was just all this solar flare, and he's like, "Let me show you how this works."
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So is this Valakut 2.0?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely the best home for Primeval Titan, and this is another one of those decks like Valakut where if they play turn 4 Titan, like you're under the gun, And a lot of these decks are just like, okay, I'll just do nothing on turn 2. That's fine. I'll play a turn 3 Blade Splicer, but then it's like you're staring down Primeval Titan with Inkmoth and Wolf Run, and what are you going to do?
Like, between those two things, right? Like, you're in a real bad position. Now, I think what is nice is that when they turn foil Primeval Titan and get the Wolf Run and the Inkmoth Nexus, you're not just dead next turn.
Yeah.
Where Valakut
it's
was
fair.
like... Yeah, Valakut was, you were just dead when they attacked with the Primeval and got 2 more Valakuts, and then it was over.
Yeah, I mean, you're not actually dead. Like, you're going to maybe kill their Titan.
Right.
And they can hit you with poison, but most likely they're just going to follow it up with, like, a Zenith for another Titan or a Worm Coil or a Garrick or whatever. Like, you're basically dead, but the game keeps going on for a little longer, so...
Excuse me. Now, this, and this sort of shows like how powerful Garrick is, which I think is amazing.
Yep, same.
Primal Hunter is just so good right now. He's just ridiculous. And this is just the deck that just keeps going over the top. It's just, we're just going to make a bunch of mana, and I'm just going to do this thing, and can you stop me?
I saw matches with him playing in Solar Flare. They're like, Unburial Rise my Sun Titan, get back Phantasmal Image, like, overing that, and he's still just like, going toe-to-toe with them. Like, Garrick, draw 6, play another Titan, get some more Nexuses, like...
Oh, that's good times.
Yeah.
That's good time. Yeah, so this is, I just feel like he built one of the pillars of the format, and it's going to be this thing, and now you sort of have to, and we were talking a little bit about this, about mirror technology. What do we feel is mirror technology here?
I don't know. It's a difficult deck to hate out.
Because all these, it's a huge fatty, but its lands will kill you.
Yeah.
It runs one of the best planeswalkers, and it still has, sweeper spells and Slagstorm.
I've seen a lot of people, like, going back to Memoricide, like they did against Valakut, but it's not the same. Like, they still have Garrick and Worm Coil in big numbers, and if they ever draw Wolf Run, any of their little guys is a huge threat. So
right.
It's not one of those decks that's easily hated out. Like, you just have to be faster than them.
Yeah, I mean, even just like a Viridian Emissary that you keep pumping with Wolf Run, like, what are they going to do? It's got trample, and you have to kill it, and then they get value from it. Like, so moving on to some other decks, Arilax battled with the Tempered Steel.
Yeah.
Tempered Steel is still a fine deck, probably the best block deck to come out of Scars, I think, is sort of the
definitely
consensus. And how do you feel about it at this point?
Yeah, the deck's fine, but like you look at the Flare list or the Wolf Run list. There's Slagstorms, Day of Judgments. Like, people are playing these cards that are incidentally good against Tempered Steel. So that's kind of unfortunate. I do like that Ari has Hero Blade Hold to main, basically like the block deck did.
Right.
To get around Slagstorm and stuff. So he's a little more resilient, but still not by much. And it slows down his deck a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to have 4/4 drops in there. But, I mean, Hero is just like the sweet follow-up to the Day of Judgment.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you have to kill this thing now.
And the awkward thing is, like, all right, so he's got Heroes, he's really fast, he might be good against the Wolf Run deck, right?
Yeah.
But then he has 4 Ancient Crutches. So
yeah.
I can't endorse this deck.
Right, I feel like Ancient Grudge is going to be this wonderful player in the metagame, but it also brings me back to Spellskite. Like, Spellskite's really good versus Wolf Run, because it's just target creature, not target creature you control, so you can always do it that way. But, but then they're just going to have Primeval Titans and Worm Coils.
It's not the only thing that they're killing you with.
Right, and Valakut was sort of very similar, sort of very, one-dimensional, but it did it very well. And this is a little bit more two-dimensional, and now you got lands and creatures stomping you. Yeah. So what do white-green tokens, what are the white weenie decks, essentially? Now, I love white weenie decks.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Absolutely excited that humans and white-green tokens are a thing.
Yeah.
But can they actually stand up against Primeval Titan and Inkmoth Nexuses?
I don't know. I think the token deck might be one of the few decks that can fight the ramp deck, just because it's fast enough, and if you change the green splash to a blue splash, you get some counterspells. So maybe that's enough. I I haven't tested that out or anything, but it seems okay.
Sure.
And then you have enough Anthem effects to make any of your cards a lethal threat. And you have a lot of creatures with evasion, too. You got some flyers, so.
Yeah, and I mean, they run different ones. There's the white-green, there's the white-blue, there's the white-blue blade. And they're all sort of, similar small guys, nice incremental advantages. Some tried to run the Snapcaster with Dismember and things of that nature, which is just value, which is great. I love how you can run Jataxian Probe with Snapcaster.
So you just turn it into Silvergill Adept. And
exactly, that you get to see their hand too,
yeah,
which is fantastic. Geist of St. Traft I was talking about, that I'm surprised that doesn't see more play, but...
Angelic Destiny seems really good.
Angelic Destiny
that's one of the few cards that could profitably fight the ramp deck. They can't grudge it, and if you have a Abolisher or Hexproof guy, they can't really stop you. So.
Yeah, well, that's nice. And, they can't Dismember it, of course, which is also nice. Intangible Virtue I just love because we were talking about in the set review, and we're like, that's not going to do anything. Token, stuff. And then, of course, Elspeth makes a bunch, and Garrick Relentless makes a bunch.
Yeah, Shrine of Loyal Legions is the big one as well.
Oh, Shrine is so good. That card is nuts. And moving on to what I feel is actually the deck I would play. If I were playing in States, I'm not able to this weekend, but if I were playing in it, I would be sleeving up the Infect deck.
I like it a lot.
The Infect deck is awesome.
Yeah, it was... I don't know. I started thinking about it because my buddy Phil Green likes to play Mono Black.
Okay.
And he goes to all the events to Bird and everything, and he's just like, hey, man, I want to play States. Can you build me a Mono Black deck? And I'm like, what about Poison? Maybe we could work on that. And then I remember Jesse Smith.
Yep. Smitty on Twitter.
Yep, he was working on Mono Black, so I looked at his list, looked through Gatherer, and this is what I came up with, and it actually seems pretty good. Crusader's a house in this format.
Crusader's so good. He's just got protection from all the problems.
Yeah, basically.
All the burn and all the weenies, nothing's going to get,
If they have, a big green guy like Primeval Titan, you have Lash Writhe, make your guy huge.
Wow.
Whatever.
I love it. I love Liliana in the Infect deck. I love the fact that Virulent Wound is really, really good right now.
Yeah.
I think just hits a bunch of random targets, kills the Rinkmoth Nexuses, which is number one, I think.
Yeah. It's very nice that the red 1-drops are all 1/1s now instead of Goblin Guide, so that type of card like Virulent Wound is actually really good.
This is true. And a lot of people were thinking about running blue-black Infect, of course, for the Snapcaster value.
Yeah.
So you can buy back the Virulent Wounds and blah, blah, blah. It's very cute. But Jesse Smith, Smitty on Twitter, actually mentioned about, and I was talking to you about it, the Postmortem Lunge being in here as maybe just the sick one of.
I'll probably play one in the board, see how that is.
Just for value.
Yeah.
It's just so good. The ability to it's and he was talking about Whispering Spectre. You rebuy the Whispering Spectre, they have 4 Infect, let's say. They go up to 5, he's going to die, and then they're going to, lose 5 cards, which is insane. So, if you can run it out earlier, that would be, of course, nice. But ultimately, I feel it has a ton of removal. It's got main deck Nihil Spell Bombs, which are pretty good versus the format. Yeah. But Wolfrun doesn't care about Nihil Spell Bomb.
That's fine. Side them out.
Yeah. Just Doomblade everything.
Yeah.
Just Doomblade it and Liliana it and Virulent Wound their Nexuses.
Distress is really good.
Yeah. Distress is nice. Get rid of their Green Sun Zeniths and things of that nature. So, anyway, I love this deck. I think it's the most exciting one we've talked about so far.
I'm going to play it in FNM.
Yeah.
Here at Star City Games.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how that goes.
Now, it's curious, Jerry, you've been on the show for our set review, and you've been here for the Magic show this week. And so, is there any particular reason you've been hanging out at Star City for so long?
You guys gave me a job.
We gave this guy a job!
What the hell were you thinking?
Oh, my God. StarCityGames.com has employed Gerry Thompson. I'm excited.
Me too.
So what does this mean for you, buddy?
I'm not sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're doing some new exciting things?
I am. I got a little Gerry TV, I believe we're calling it.
A little premium-only video program?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That seems like a lot of fun. I'm excited.
From the personality of Gerry Thompson with the production crew of Mr. Irwin together.
It's got to be good.
It's going to be sweet. So, we will be working on that for the near future, and I would like to thank you for joining me this week.
Yep.
And I'd like to wish everyone out there good luck in their states. Show up for this Saturday, battle, make something happen, use one of these awesome decks, come up with something yourself. I would love to see some sick rogue creations come out of states.
And I think it's possible, for sure.
Definitely. I mean, there's lots of cool stuff out there. I think there's maybe some infinite loop stuff out there that people haven't figured out yet. People can do things in this format. We're just getting started. Jerry's just getting started at StarCityGames.com. I'm Evan Irwin. This is Gerry Thompson for The Magic Show, tapping the cards so you don't have to.